afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Positive Psychology Hour, a series that we do at the Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan in partnership with Whole Being Institute. I'm your host today. My name is Caroline Colas, and I'm the Senior Director of Health and Wellness at the JCC. Today, we're going to be talking about 7 steps to a playful heart in 2022. So working a little bit ahead as we round out the end of the year. And this will be presented by Lisa Sullivan. Have the past couple of years in the pandemic left you fatigued? They have me. Do you feel you should be joyful and happy in the holiday season and not quite sure why you're not? Maybe health, finances, career, or concerns about the future are presenting challenges for you right now. Or perhaps it's the holidays that have you focused on things that you wish you had or didn't have in your life, or getting gifts, or fixing things, or doing things, trying to cram it all in before the end of the year. You're not alone. It's okay to feel every emotion brought on by life's ebbs and flows, and there are ways to help us all through, and that is why Lisa is here today. She believes one way is to focus on your playful heart. Hear about her 7 steps today as she focuses on when life gets overwhelming. And when it does, you need a plan of some kinds. And this 7-step plan is quite creative and innovative, and I think you're going to enjoy it very much. A little bit about Lisa. She draws from the science of positive psychology and more than 2 decades of marketing leadership experience to offer simple, time-tested actions that can reduce stress and anxiety and cultivate lasting sense of well-being at work or at home or in life in general. She's certified in positive psychology through the Whole Being Institute and is a graduate of the Happiness Studies Academy. She trained in Google's Search Inside Yourself program and is a certified Let Your Yoga Dance teacher as well. Lisa creates happiness play shops and training for companies, organizations, and schools. She's the founder of Camp Atta Girl, a camp that offers empowering retreats that help women rediscover their voice, their power, their self-love, their joy, and yes, their playful hearts. She's the author of Atta Girl, The Art of Tapping into Your Power and Moxie and Living Fearlessly Happy. Welcome to the call, Lisa. I cannot wait. Let me add you here.
Thank you. So first off, delighted to be here and really honored. You know, I've watched a couple of them. I have a real job during the day, and sometimes I can't make them, but I'm tickled that you are allowing me to share. And I think, quite honestly, even right before this call, you know, my life, I don't know why I decided to do this, but I'm doing a Camp Atta Girl in January. We are closing on a house at the end of December. You know, I'm doing this. I'm also doing, my real job is for the city that I live in, and I'm going to be doing a happiness session for them, a half-day session tomorrow. And I think through all this, there are still times when I just become so overwhelmed, and I think, what am I doing? You know, why am I not following my own steps? And so I think what I love about sharing this is that it made me take a step back and say, hey, Lisa, you're not following your own 7 steps. What can you do? And in 2022, a month ago, I just decided that, and you'll see a little bit in my presentation, I pick a word every year. And my word for 2022 is going to be play, because I am not having enough play in my life. And so as I was talking to women at my camps, and even my husband and my son, I think more and more we need to have that playful spirit to get us through what we've been through over the past 2 years. So I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. Why don't we take a moment and I will lead us all in a mindfulness break, and then we'll get started. And I know for me, I teach what I need to learn the most. So I'm right with you. I'm an overscheduler myself. Anybody else on the call, raise your hand. Yes, I see lots of hands up. All right, so if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by trying to cram it all in at the end of the year, you're in the right place. You're in the right house. So I'm going to lead us in a mindfulness break, and we will begin. Everybody, just let's do what Maria Serra has taught us all to do. She's a wonderful positive psychologist and on faculty and at the Whole Being Institute. She's doing an incredible course starting in January that we'll tell you more about. And that is to take 3 mindful breaths. So with me, and if you'd like to add your arms, you can do that. Inhale and lift your arms up, and then let them settle down as you exhale in your own timing. Inhale. And as you do that, sense your energy sink into the chair that you're sitting in. Come fully present into your body. And one more time, inhale. And exhale down. Nice. Welcome, welcome. Lisa, I'm going to turn it over to you and to share your screen and this amazing slideshow.
Can you see?
Yeah.
The ultimate question now on Zoom, can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you see my screen?
Looks good.
Yeah, okay. So let's go. Let's have a little playful heart. So hold on. So she pretty much shared my story. I do want to tell a little bit about how I got into positive psychology. And really quickly, it was just I was working at a company that I would hear people go down the halls and say, this place is nuts, and people seemed so unhappy, and I wanted to do something to help them. So my kind of basis in positive psychology came from the working world. And I learned, I went through, got certified in positive psychology, went through Google's Leadership Academy, and came back to the place that I worked to bring happiness sessions to them, emotional intelligence. And then the bottom fell out, and my company was purchased by a private equity company, and I was fired and laid off. And being the sole support of my entire family, panic set in. My husband was a stay-at-home dad for 10 years, and so I decided to do something kind of odd and for me, and became certified in Let Your Yoga Dance, which pretty much changed my life. I can pretty much say that it changed my life. So then I decided to just, since I had nowhere to go, nothing to do, I decided to just combine positive psychology with Let Your Yoga Dance. And so every workshop I do and every women's retreat I do combines those two. So what I kind of share in my life is a little bit of science and a little bit of woo-woo. And what you're going to see on my 7 steps are really a lot of what I share at my Camp Atta Girls, but it ties in with men too. I think no matter who you are, all these 7 steps can help. So before I begin, I just want you all to know, I believe, positive psychology is about becoming happier and leading a full and fulfilling life. And I believe happiness and joy are kind of combined, they complement each other. Some people equate happiness with a destination, achieving goals, and joy is kind of a feeling. I believe they're both interconnected and the same, and I believe that it's that joy version that is the playfulness. So when I'm talking about things, that's kind of where I'm coming from. And just, a little bit about COVID. The reason why I think what I'm going to be sharing is so important, I always come back to these. I was doing a talk. I was blessed to be part of a group of authors that just released a book on happiness. And I was doing a talk on that, and I just couldn't feel myself wanting to do it because I think I was suffering. Someone coined, you've got post-COVID traumatic syndrome. And I think we're all going through that. We came out of 2020 thinking, yes, 2021 is going to be the best year ever. And actually, in a lot of ways, 2021 may not be as bad, but it wasn't, here we go, we're back to normal. So I think there's a lot of people that are still, they call it languishing. They know they don't want to be here, they want to be there, but they don't know how to get there. So these are the 7 steps that I always come back to. And number 1 is exactly what Caroline started us off with, to pause. You know, this past year has been really hard on me. And I'm not going to go into details, but when it becomes hard, even right before I jumped on here, not only just the technical, but my daughter's home from college and she's, you know, she's suffering. It's her first semester in college and she's in that age group that I think was affected very deeply with what was happening with COVID. And so I pause and I let myself know that it's okay to fall apart. If things are happening, it is absolutely okay to fall apart. And I'll put myself together when the time is right. And when those moments come, I pause, I breathe, I make sure I'm patient with myself. And if you've been in positive psychology and Holbein Institute, permission to be human, and it's okay to be exactly where you are. Whatever COVID has done, it's okay to be wherever you are. And it's okay to fall apart. So number 1 is just know wherever you are, it's okay. Number 2, I think, look inside, look ahead, try not to look back. You know, a lot of us may be going through, went through COVID and thought, okay, this is my time to work out. This is my time to get healthy. This is my time to do all those goals because I'm at home. And sometimes we look back and say, I haven't accomplished what I wanted to, or I'm upset with what I haven't done. Never look back unless it's to see where you're going, and always look inside, find what's great about you. Look inside and find your superpowers, tap into those character strengths. You all know what they are. I'm sure if you've been on these positive psychology hours, I don't need to share with you how important tapping into those superpowers are. And one of my favorite things is, Wayne Dyer, look at things differently and the things you look at change. So always look at things differently. If you're upset or things aren't going the way you want, just step back, pause, and take a look and see what see how things may change. I try to be attached to nothing. And if you guys any of you are in the working world, I think this is really important in the corporate world too, to be open to everything and attached to nothing. Where I am right now, is not where I want to be, but I love what I've accomplished. But I also know that I'm a Capricorn and Capricorns want everything, straight, and this is how it should be. When I am open to everything and attached to nothing, then usually God in the universe and whatever is supposed to come my way comes my way, and it's usually a lot better than I ever imagined. So, I try to not be attached to anything and be open to everything. And I fully believe that when you do that, and when you have this playful spirit, the universe answers by delivering you playfulness back. And so if you're attached to something or the way you want it to go, I encourage you to just detach and just breathe, look, step back, and be attached to nothing. Number 4, you do you. So important, so important. Stop caring what others think about you. One of my favorite things is what anyone thinks of me is none of my business. I've had a habit most of my life comparing myself to people. Well, she's done this, he's done that. Why haven't I gotten there? And still, every now and then I do that. I know I'm not going to be this person, and I don't want to be that person. You do you. And when I do me, it's as I'm sitting here presenting, you're not. This is a lot of who I am. It may not be steeped in positive psychology, but this is me, and I love who I am at times. At times I don't love who I am. I think we all go through that. But I stop comparing myself to others. I try really hard not to do it. And another one that I love is that, your true nobility is not being better than anyone else. It's about being better than you used to be. And I think that's important. And when you do you, that just kind of flows. This past year, I think we all kind of looked at things, all of us feel like we're kind, we're good, we're filled with peace, love, and sunshine. But how many of us in the past 2 years with everything that's going on, have just kind of scratched our head and said, what is going on? I think a lot of us also feel that way when it comes to us. And so forgive is a big one for me. I'm a big proponent that you, for your own peace of mind, to forgive others, but I'm also a big proponent of on your own time. Yes, I want you to do it as soon as you can, but when you're ready, you're ready. But in the meantime, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. The past is what you did. You did the best you could. You need to treat yourself like you would your friend and your child. So forgive whatever it is and move on. It's absolutely okay. It's absolutely okay. And uplift someone. Very clearly in the role of positive psychology is gratitude, and how important it is, and how showing that gratitude to someone can just uplift not only them, but uplift you. So when I find myself not having that playful spirit, I always kind of look to see, okay, what do I have in my life? How can I show to others what they are to me in my life? And it's amazing what that one thing, by just showing people what you're grateful for. Last week, I for those of you who don't know, she mentioned Camp Attagirl. And Camp Attagirl is a women's retreat that I created after all hell broke loose and I didn't know what to do with my life, because I figured there are a lot of women that are going through the same thing. And I decided to promote Camp Attagirl at a local Christmas show, kind of not the market, but I just wanted to try it. And as I promoted on my Facebook that I was going to be there, and in the middle of the show, someone sends me an email saying, I just have to tell you, and started telling me everything that I had done to help her, that I had no clue. And I'm sitting there in my booth with tears rolling down my face, thinking this is the perfect example of the smallest little thing you can say to someone to thank them, how much it helps them and how much it helps you. So tell someone this holiday season, tell someone what's great about them. Send someone a gratitude letter. And it doesn't have to be big. Whatever you're doing for someone or whatever they've done, the smallest little thing takes up the most room in your heart. And just a tiny little reaching out saying thank you for this, if it's from your heart, will change someone's life. It will change someone's life. So that's number 6. I uplift someone when I'm not feeling that playful. And love your beautiful self. I know this ties in with you doing you, but I think it's a big one. I think everyone should be a Fruit Loop in a world filled with Cheerios. On my bathroom mirror is, what can I do? What can you do to love yourself today, Lisa? I think it's so important. So many times we're running and running and running. So if you haven't done that, if you just do one thing, tape that to your mirror so that every morning you're loving yourself in a different way. And smile at least 8 times a day. Do you know the average adult, the average only smiles 4 times a day? That means someone isn't smiling at all and someone is smiling a lot. We need to smile more. And even if you just kind of look at the mirror in the morning and smile at your beautiful self, imagine how much better your day would go versus looking at yourself and saying, oh my God, where'd those wrinkles come from? You were born to be you, be the Fruit Loop, and love yourself. So 7 steps, kind of what I do. Pause, look, attach to nothing, you do you, forgive yourself, uplift, and love. And let your smile change the world. I'm a big quote person. If anyone knows me, they know, I think in my book, I started counting how many quotes I had in my office, and I forget, but it was something, some more than 20 in my office, little quotes. And let your smile change the world. Don't let the world change your smile is one of my favorites. So here's what I know, that I know I'll eventually get to where I want to be, but damn, I'm going to have fun along the way. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to make a playlist, not the music kind, and add it to your life. And if you need some tips, I'm going to give you some tips right now to help you get started. Between now and the end of the month, one of the things that I do, because it's in my playful heart and One of my top 5 superpowers or my character strengths is I love to be, creativity is one of the things I love to do. I love humor, so I love to put whimsy in things. But every month I create my calendar, my own calendar that I send off to people. And to kick off 2022, my December calendar this year is all about your playful heart. So I want you to do one of these 8 things. I either want you to write a letter to Santa and mail it. Yes, mail it, write a letter. Buy a gift for someone or one for yourself, wrap it and put it under the tree. Go to the dollar store this afternoon or tomorrow or this weekend, and I want you to buy yourself 8 gifts. I want you to wrap them, and then I want you to hide them until Christmas Eve so you forget what they are, and then put them in a stocking on December 24th. If you don't celebrate Christmas, do it for New Year's. Hide them away, and then on New Year's Day, get a little box and put them all in so that you open all these gifts that you bought yourself. Get yourself a gift. Buy 2 or 3 Visa gift cards and give them randomly to someone who could use it if you're walking out of the grocery store or Target or Walmart, and just hand it to them. And just don't stay there, just say, here, I wanted to give this to you. Add some color into your life, whether it's your hair. I used to have purple hair, it's kind of faded. Your furniture, your clothes, everything, put some color into your life. Buy some fun, comfy slippers. Have a slumber party. Nothing is more fun than women and men. Well, I guess men, I don't know if men do slumber parties. You should have slumber parties, men. Have a slumber party at an older age, and go back and do all the games that you used to do. And then if I didn't have dance on here, who would I be? One of the things that you can absolutely tap into your heart is by dancing. So one of those are the things that I want you to do to kick off 20, in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But what I also want you to do is something playful that I do at my retreats. I've also done it every year with my family, is I want you to choose a word for 2022. Words are so important. Sorry, someone's calling me. Nope. Words are so important. They're so powerful. And when you just pick one word to utilize for that year or that month, it's amazing how the vibration and the power they have. So one of the things, one of the quotes that I found in positive psychology was this one from Frank Outlaw that I'm sure every one of you has seen. And watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Words are critical, and powerful words are critical. In fact, every year I torture my family and I make them pick their word of the year, and then we pick a family word, and then I torture them even more by making them take some funky picture with it. For those of you, my husband bought, Mr. Peanut costumes, so I tortured them by making them wear those. If any of you had seen the Bird Box on Netflix, you might not understand that daring one where we've got masks on, but that was popular that year. But we always pick a word that resonates with us, and we always pick a family word. Now this year, the Sullivan's 2021 words, my husband's name is Bart and I'm Lisa, and our last name begins with an S. So Bart and Lisa, we were the original Bart and Lisa, so that's why the Sullivans is up there. My word for 2021 was kind of F yeah, because I wanted to take on the world. And mostly this year has been F yeah. So that's why 2022 is going to be the year of the playful heart. Pick a word of the day, a word of the month, new year, new word, family words, words in the classroom, words at work. For those of you who do these mission statements that no one remembers, pick words and that people can remember, and create your core values for you or for your work. It's something that will resonate with everyone. Pick your word of the day, the word of the month. And I want to do something a little bit fun right now. I am going to play with you. I'm going to stop sharing. And one of the things that I have created for the women and for the corporate things that I do is I created a deck of cards. They're called Live Up to Your Word. And on the back, there's different words like explore, here's breathe. And so I have different exercises that they give them. But what I want to do right now is I'm going to randomly pick 3 cards that I think all of us should focus on in the next 3 weeks. And these are for what I think all of us should focus on. Now, as I pick them, I want you to look at card 1, 2, 3. You're not going to know what those words are, but out of those 3 cards, one of them you may be drawn to. So I'm going to pick 3 cards and I'll explain in a minute. Okay. This is card number 1. Now this card is for everyone, but this is card number 1. Okay. This is card number 2. These are random and I love what I'm picking and you'll see in a minute. Okay. And this is card number 3. These are the cards that I think all of us, these are the words all of us should focus on in the next 3 weeks. And this is card number 3. Okay. So in your heart, out of the 3 cards, which one resonates with you? And I'm going to read which each one is, and all of them fit with all of us, but one of these cards, 1, 2, or 3. So pick a card. Okay. Card number 1. Give. So if card number 1 was the card that you kind of resonated to, give compliments, be good-hearted, give thanks, give it your all, give to yourself and to others. Now I'm going at the end, I'm going to include these cards in the presentation and we'll email it to you if you wish it so that you can see exactly what that card was. So that was card number 1 for all of us. Remember, there are 36 cards and this was random. Card number 2, play. See, there's a reason for everything. There are no coincidences. I'm like, oh my God, the only one better than that would be dance. And I didn't pick dance, but play. Oh my gosh, it's all about a playful heart. So if number 2 resonated with you, play. Although all 3 of them is what we should do. Play hopscotch. Draw on the sidewalk, sing outside, sing inside the shower. We can sing outside the shower too. You can sing wherever you want. But again, play. That's one of the things, the word gods are telling us these are the words you need to focus on. And the 3rd card, there might be some rebels out there. It's rebel, which I think is a really good one. Rebel is, lead an awakening, be provocative, take a risk. If you haven't stepped out of your comfort zone in a while, you can play outside your comfort zone. Just embrace your personal power. That's what rebel is. And so once again, so these 3 words are what we're supposed to focus on in the next month. And I'll share them with you at the end on the PowerPoint when we send it out. So I'm going to share one more time. Go back to this. And the other thing that I want you guys to do, and this is important. So I read an article that one of the top 10 things to make you smile is googly eyes. How can you not laugh or smile when someone is holding up googly eyes? So I want you guys to go by googly eyes. In 2022, everything I do, I am going to include some googly eyes with them because I think that's important. And finally, it's dancing. Now, I don't care what kind of dance you do. I love the Carlton, it's not unusual by Tom Jones. I'm showing my age and I don't think you can hear it, but, just have a playful heart and dance and play. I think that's so important. And that's pretty much me. I'm not going to share with that. The one thing that I want to end with is, you will only ever have 2 choices. This is another favorite quote of mine from Jim Carrey. Choose love and don't ever choose fear, and don't ever let fear turn you against your playful heart. More than ever right now, we need to play. We need to have that energy. And I believe in my heart that dancing is one of those things that will bring it to you. And just play, dance, play, do whatever it is that's going to bring joy into your life. Just pause, pause, look, everything. Just have be attached to nothing. You do you. Forgive. Just love yourself. Just be playful.
Awesome. Oh my goodness. How much fun is this going to be? So let's play a little bit. Let me make sure I have them all down. Pause, look inside, look, attach to nothing, you do you, forgive, uplift someone, love your beautiful self. And what was the 8th one? It was a playlist, but was it create a playlist or was it something else?
No, the 8th one was dance, kind of.
Oh,
dance.
Is
that what you're talking about?
Yeah. All right. So how about if we jump into, first of all, I'd love to know, please put in the chat, which card that did you kind of pick when she held up the 3? I picked number 2. So let's do that. I picked number 2. Let's see. Rebel. Oh my gosh, great. Oh, let's see what we have. Kelly has Rebel, Phoebe 2, Helene 2, lots of 2s. Gosh, a lot of people picked the middles. Joanne picked number 1. What was number 1 again?
Number 1 is give.
Give, okay.
Which ties into it. And
perfect.
You can be rebel or it could be a rebel, whatever you are,
Oh, we got Kat at number 3 and Patrice, a lot of 1s. This is great. Oh my gosh. So 3, and that's me 100%. All right. Well, so I wondered if we wanted to do a quick breakout with 3 people per group, and then just ask how you're going to take your word and incorporate it in the next 3 weeks. How does that sound, everybody?
I love that.
Are you open to play, since this is all about playing? Yeah. Let me just see if I can do that. We've got about 40 folks, and we won't be there for very long, but we invite you to play with us. And here they go. Off you go. So discuss your word and just let us know. Let your participants and your other colleagues and your other folks on the call, let them know how you're going to incorporate your word into this. All right, off you go. I'm going to hit pause for a moment. And those of you that you have to kind of accept it, you have to move, I think, to the rooms. There you go. And let me just see. I'm going to pause the recording for a moment, and I'm going to help everybody. And let me just shut the door. My dogs are here. So how was that? Does anybody want to unmute and share? Deb, you're already unmuted, or you were.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think it was interesting. We each had chosen a different word, and we each had different things to focus on. I talked about doing artwork, which I'm focusing on right now. And the other 2 talked about giving and being a rebel. And yeah, it was a good conversation.
Yes, and Ellen and Susan and I were talking about that too as well when we stayed here. Anybody else want to share?
I'll share. I had the most amazing experience because I was first alone, and thank you for putting me in another room. And Sheila and I are experiencing the same exact thing. We're both moving out of a house or our residence for 38 years that we've been in. What are the odds that we shared this? And I said, and I can't wait, because we're going, I'm going on Monday, moving everything down at least. But I said, and I plan on doing nothing but playing. That was my word, and that was her word too. So we're gonna
play.
Yes.
Lisa, isn't that amazing? I'm gonna put yeah, so go ahead and unmute. Okay. Yeah, mute Lisa to say that if you
there are no coincidences. I love that.
No.
I love that.
Yeah.
It was truly like my life has been, where the accident turns out to be great.
Nice, nice. Elizabeth, you have your hand raised. Did you want to share?
Yes, just talking, which was lovely. You know, it's so lovely to meet people, strangers, and just connecting. And what I liked was the perspective that we discussed about sometimes these traits or what the items on the cards could be too extreme one way or the other. In other words, giving too much of yourself or playing too much. And it's really finding that middle road of comfort and what nurtures us as opposed to what brings us down. So thanks for the experience. It was a different perspective, and I appreciated it. Thank you.
Love that.
Wow, thank you for sharing, Elizabeth. And Lisa, did you want to comment on that?
No, I love that. I think that's the power of the words. You know, really words are very powerful, and however you interpret them or want to interpret them, the cards that I use are just one little thing. And I think it's so important. It ties right in with those 7. You do you, what fits for you? What is that word, and what does that word meaning have for you? So.
And I love that you have your lights back on.
I turned my lights back on.
That's fantastic. So everybody, you can see these wonderful lights. This is what Lisa, a representative of her doing you. Please put in the chat the way that you do you. All right. Let's do that. And we're going to just see. I mean, for Lisa, it's her lights, and I want everyone to see that and her artwork.
Yeah,
and all that.
I was telling Phoebe before we joined that these are not, I have lights in this is my little home office, because I believe white light has wonderful energy. So it's not just at Christmas that I have the lights, I have them all year long. So that it's kind of like lighting a candle constantly. So, but it was distracting, so we turned it off, but Carolyn gave me permission. You can turn them on towards the end, so I had to turn them on because it's me.
Absolutely. And doesn't it just light up your day to see that, you know, those lights? So let's just look at this idea of pause and a mindfulness break from a positive psychology lens, right? That ability, I think, in between stimulus and response, Viktor Frankl talks about that. There's this ability to pause and we can make a choice. So how important is that from a positive psychology lens, everyone, to just take a moment to pause? And I'd love to hear from you in the chat. What are the ways that you pause? Certainly, do you pause and breathe? Do you notice, where do you use this in your life? If anybody wants to unmute and share, I think that would be really helpful for us, especially if anybody is feeling overwhelmed. And at this time of year, right at the end of the year, when we're trying to pack everything in, Jessica has a great idea. Take a walk. It is a pause for me. What are the 3 things you said? I said in between stimulus and response, there is a pause. And there's an opportunity for us to choose. And that's a quote by Viktor Frankl. And in positive psychology, we think about that choice, right? What can I do here to reinforce where it is that I want to go? Yeah. And let's see. A pause for me generally manifests in a movement and tone in my body. Beautiful, Cheryl. I need to pause and think before I speak. Yes, right? Stopping negative or critical thoughts. Remembering the thoughts are my choice. Gosh, these are great, aren't they? Let's see. A pause for me generally, my Apple Watch tells me to take a breath. Wow, I didn't know it had that skill. My daily 20-minute nap. Beautiful. Going to the park, always a pause for me. Yes, I listen to some soothing music, usually Karen Drucker. Nice. Okay, yes. I pause by sitting down and paying attention to my cat. These are all wonderful, right? So a pause doesn't always have to be like me being still. And I love that a lot of you said that you actually pause by walking or pause by taking a break. And then attached to nothing. Let's talk about that from a positive psychology lens. It's that resilience, isn't it? It's building in the and. Yes, this is true, and this is also true, right? So we found in studies in science that when the most resilient of us are the ones that acknowledge what is, right? But they don't necessarily attach to it. They also focus on what is great. So let's do that. Let's do that in the chat for a second. Maria Serwa talks about that being the pond, right? And the swamp, right, Lisa? So let's, Claire, hang on one second, and I'll have you talk in just a moment. Let's put in the chat one swampy thing. And what I mean by that is things that are not going well right now. Like, why is it overwhelming? What are you attaching to right now that you really feel like, oh, you know, is it that you have too much to do? My niece has COVID. Oh, yes, that's COVID restlessness. Beautiful. Anything else? Put in the chat, please. Let's get the swamp out there in the chat. Anything that you're experiencing that's negative right now. Just one thing. We only have two. No one else has experienced negative things. Tension in trying to connect with my 23-year-old. Yes, Amy, right? Reconnection, Esperanza. Yes, right. Too many responsibilities. Great, Irene. Ellen, flat tire. Oh no, ruined my plans and lots of my, yes, that's a very swampy thing. Sheila, dealing with my selling my apartment. Yeah, right. Overwhelm. Okay, thank you. Okay, now it's coming. Omicron fears. There we go. Sorting through emotions. What's mine? What's the collective? Isolation from my social world. Do you see some in there, Lisa, you want to add in?
I just got red ant bites. I'm sorry, I don't, bless your heart. I'm sorry that you got red ant bites. No, I think a lot of times, I think it's funny that they hesitated, maybe that there's just so much they didn't know what to put down.
Right. Too busy at work here at the hospital. Yes. Gosh, thank you. You know, Bailey, God bless. Now, that's all true, right? And what is also true, right? And the reason we can let go of that a little bit when Lisa's talking about attached to nothing, the reason how we're going to let go of that is we're going to build in the and from positive psychology. So what else is true? What are you just cherishing about this time? Lisa, I'm loving that you have these lights. It seems to me like you're decorating, you're getting in the holiday spirit. So what else? Now, like, flood the chat with what is great right now about this time of year and this particular, like, let's take that exact same situation. Like, for example, the one, your niece has COVID. Is there anything positive that's also true about that? For example, is she, I happen to know who that is she with her friends? Is she in a safe place? Is she, you know what I mean? So we can even take the negative situation and, like you said with Wayne Dyer, look at it through a different lens, right? Talk to me more about that, Lisa, about how you were inspired by Wayne and Dyer and how he looks at things. That's really interesting.
So it was 30 years ago or 20 years ago. And it honestly, and this is kind of a funny question, I was struggling having a child. My husband and I were struggling, and I discovered Wayne Dyer, and I just kind of, whatever he said resonated with me. And one of the things that he mentioned was to visualize stuff. And I started, believe it or not, visualizing babies coming off a conveyor belt, and just all these smiling babies coming off a conveyor belt. And it was just, what I realized is, to me, the more you look at things, find the benefit, remember kind of what we're just talking about, be a benefit finder of the things, a lot of challenges in trying to have that first child. But the more you look at things differently and find, okay, what is good about this, then you start to relax. And when you look at things differently, then the whole world starts to open up. And within a year, I got pregnant with my son. And so it was just that foray. And I started just kind of following him and studying him, and the positivity that I think everything that he talks about is exactly what we do with positive psychology. It's just now we've got the science behind it. Now we have the science behind it. And so it's that combination of him and the science that I'm tickled about, because I do think, you know, whether you're looking at it through his lens or positive psychology, it works. It works.
And it's again that growth mindset, right? That
Yeah.
fixed mindset. We were talking about that it's sort of in our pre-game show, how I was saying, my cell phone updated. And my fixed mindset wants to say, why? I just figured out how to use it.
Yeah,
and then if
Zoom,
I adopt
why
a growth
didn't I update
mindset,
Zoom?
I'm like, look at the agility I'm getting from learning how to use my phone all over again, right? So let's see what we have in the chat for the pond. Learning online gatherings, beautiful. And I'll do things the house, pleasures and cleaning, beautiful. Doing Zooms. My niece is in a safe place, beautiful. Opportunity to connect with self. Amazing how the body heals. Yes, I have Omicron fears, and I can use the time hold up in my apartment to connect, do, grow, etc. in other ways. Thankful son is coming home for Christmas, that he is choosing to be here, and that God is giving us more opportunities to try and improve our relationships. These are beautiful. So right now we're shifting that, and that's a real example of resilience, because we're accepting what is, but also opening to what can be, which I believe is really what you mean when you're talking about attached to nothing, that opportunity. If we go deeper. Now, my joy practice helps me to be in a place of inner peace inside the depths of tears of sorrow-filled world. Yes, beautiful, Cheryl. Discovering a new home, a new place, a new space. Yeah, Sheila, nice. Joanne, dancing Mia in a real studio instead of my living room. Nice. So those are all ponds. And do you feel the difference, the uplift from that, the upward spiral? Gorgeous. Yeah. And then tell me a little bit about you being you. And I want to have our, how we can have folks in the chat. Well, let's talk about a time when you weren't you. And I can think of a time. Can you think of a time when you weren't yourself and it didn't go well?
My entire corporate life. For me, it was funny. I was actually having a conversation with one of my favorite bosses, and he actually said something about, you weren't born to wear a cowboy hat. You were born to wear this hat, because, it's just, but I want to wear a cowboy hat, but that's not who you are. You need to be who you are and not care. And so I just started, and there's a woman on here who knows me, who worked with me at this one company that everyone was so unhappy. Every Friday before our meetings, I would put on music and have everyone dance. And half the time it was just me dancing. Everyone was just kind of staring at me. But to have 50 people in my department realize how important dancing is, and music and uplifting, that was me being me. And I decided, you know what, if I can't be me, life is happier when I can be me. And I stopped comparing myself, and I just do me. And
let's go to the Zoom unity. Yeah. Let's go to our community. I'm going to take off all the spotlights. And anybody want to share about an example of where, I wasn't being myself and it didn't work so well, and now I actually have shifted and I feel that connection to being in the right place? Anybody? Feel free to unmute if you have an example. I just know that for me, like when I was starting to teach, I would feel like I had to teach Nia the way Debbie, who was the founder of Nia, did it, right? And then it was just so bad. Does anybody have the experience? It was just, I was the worst person doing somebody else, right?
That was me when I became your yoga dance teacher. I can't be Mega. No one can be Mega. And right. A lot of you know Mega. I just have to be me. Yeah. Perfect example. Anybody else have an example of when you were like, oh yeah, I just got to let go of trying to be perfect, or trying to be like somebody else, or trying to be what I think everybody wants me to be?
I see some folks nodding their heads. Yeah, I think we've got that point. And then finally, let's talk about the forgiveness thing as we close, because as we come to the end of the year, that can be really heavy too, Lisa, right? To not forgiveness. I was just on a call before I got here, and she said that the leader of the call said, it's really easy to hate. Try and stay in your heart. That's much more challenging. And I thought to myself, wow, is that ever true?
True. So my father passed away 3 years ago. And I was probably the only one who didn't post anything because I did not have the best relationship with my father. I've done a lot in the past 6 months forgiving him. And it's really been cathartic. And I've also forgiven myself for not forgiving him sooner. And I think forgiveness on whatever level you can feel only helps yourself, and it fills you with more love. And I actually now can see my father, I feel closer to him now in his passing than I did when I was growing up. And that's through forgiveness. And I still have a ways to go, but when I sat down and just did that, starting to forgive everything, I felt calmer and I felt more playful. A weight was lifted. So it's so important. Like I said, Caroline, I think it's really important you do it on your time. No one can force you to forgive someone, and it doesn't mean to forget, but it's for yourself. It's for yourself and that love in your heart. So yeah, forgiveness is a big one.
And even what we were talking about with this is true, all this, right? You're not erasing the reality of what your relationship with your father was, but you're adding to it. Mm-hmm. This is also true.
Yeah.
And that, as you're right, it's a natural time. Phoebe's going to put in the chat as I'm rounding up this call next Tuesday, Gratitude in All Times with 3 lenses, Nancy, Rabbi Deb, and Natalie. We're so excited to have that come to fruition for the solstice too. It's going to be December 21st. And it'll be sort of, what is that day? It's kind of like the darkest day of the year, right, Lisa? And then we start to go back to the light. And I even think it's around the temperature of the water in the oceans, the currents. There's a whole time of really coming in, reflecting. I like to journal on that day. I've heard that on the solstice you can balance an egg end to end. Have you ever heard that?
I've heard that. I haven't done it, but I've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to do. So we will be here next Tuesday to celebrate that. There's a Nia Jam. If you happen to be in town tonight, if you're in New York City, there's a Nia Jam at 5:45. It's also virtual. And then this weekend, we have Winnalee, who's in the positive psychology course now, and I will be doing a Nia Jam at noon on Sunday. We'll send those links out with the recording. Lisa, do we get a chance to, if we wanted to get your cards or anything like that, is there a website we can go to, or
if
are they for sale?
I'm going to send out the presentation that will have that information, but if you go to happinesselement.com, that is my website, or campadagirl.com, but happinesselement.com will give you links to Camp Add a Girl, but that's my website.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This was so timely, right, everyone? Anybody else needed to hear this? I was feeling a little bit of overwhelmed. I was feeling like, how am I going to get everything done in the next 3 weeks? Or is it 2 weeks? I think it's 2 weeks.
Yes, I think it's 2 weeks. Thank you so much, Caroline, and everyone, for having me. This was, it really did give me a chance to step back and say, follow what you're preaching.
Wonderful. And everyone, don't forget to pick your word. And on January 2, the JCC will be having a full day of New Year's programming completely free. Scott Barry Kaufman is going to be in the house leading us with his keynote speech with somebody else who's coming and interview him. Phoebe, you probably know who that is. And we'll have links to that and information about that in the email that we send out. For now, be safe, be well, and good luck with these next 2 weeks. We'll see you on the 21st. Bye, everybody. Feel free to unmute and thank our speaker.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a
Thank you,
nice
work.
one.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Lisa. Thank you.
Bye.